Hey, what's up? It's Fuel Your Life Friday. Let's go. Boundaries are such an important topic. There was once a time not too long ago that I felt the need to give all of me to everyone else. My thought process for most of my life was, I can, so I will. This included giving away my time, doing things I didn't love, saying yes to everything, accepting toxic people into my life, etc. Basically, I was always willing to refuel the tanks of others while neglecting my own. Over the past 2 years or so, I've grown in leaps and bounds, all because I decided to take back my power. When I began this journey of reclaiming my power, I learned that setting boundaries is key. Healthy boundaries allow us not to fall into the trap of society's pressure, which tells us that if we say no, we're not a good mother, father, wife, husband, friend, colleague, whatever. Personal boundaries extend into many areas of life, including physical, emotional, mental, sexual, spiritual, and even material. But the reason for setting them is ultimately to have a safe and healthy relationships, both with yourself and with others. I love Brené Brown's definition of boundaries in her book, Rising Strong. She defines boundaries as simply a list of what's okay and what's not okay. I'm sharing a few of many personal boundaries that I've embraced that have literally been life-changing. Number 1, simply learning to say no. How many times have you said yes to something and then immediately regretted it? Better yet, how many times have you said yes because you couldn't think of an excuse to say no? We often feel as if a no needs a reason attached to it, as if saying no isn't a complete sentence by itself. It's often the guilt that comes along with the word that pushes people into saying yes. One area I struggled with this was within my business. It felt terrible to me when people would come and seek my aid for services I no longer offered or for things that I did and do offer, yet I didn't have time to help them. I felt trapped into saying yes and then complaining about the project the entire time I was doing it. Essentially, I set myself up for misery by saying yes. Now that I've learned to say no more, I use phrases such as, my plate is pretty full right now, but I'm happy to refer you to a trusted colleague who might be able to help you out. Or, I'd love to, but I'm already overcommitted. Thank you for thinking of me. These phrases still say no, but they also don't make me feel like a complete a-hole while I'm saying them. Number 2, share information gradually. I've noticed that when I'm on the plane, and I know I've said this before, the people next to me often share things I don't think they've even shared with their spouse, let alone a friend. I've been guilty of this too. It's almost as if opening up to a stranger can be easier because, hey, I'll never see this person again, right? But not everyone needs to know about your business. Oversharing is actually part of not having boundaries. Oversharing too many details with people you've just met exposes you to potential hurt or manipulation. Protect yourself. Open up to those who truly care for you and have your best interest at heart. Number 3, not everything needs a response. I remember when I was hit with an uncomfortable situation with a person I didn't even know, and they were attacking my character and my morals. I knew this person was just projecting their own insecurities on me, and if I gave any attention or energy into the situation, it would only fuel the fire. Instead, I chose the high road, I ignored what was said, and I went on about my day. Had I engaged in a response, I know I would have gotten fired up. I would have said things I didn't mean, which would ultimately come back to haunt me, and I would have exerted all of that day's energy into a person who did not deserve it, thus leaving me drained and unable to give my energy to the people who do deserve it. So recognize when silence is a better option. Not everything needs a response. And the last one. Prioritize your self-care. You may remember the episode about self-compassion and how the guilt of putting myself first ultimately led to putting my health at risk. So you know when you're boarding a plane, they say to put your oxygen mask on first before assisting others? That's because you cannot take care of anyone else if you're there passing out from a lack of oxygen. I'm very humanitarian driven, so to me, prioritizing myself felt selfish, but guess what? Prioritizing yourself is not selfish, it's imperative. Now I take time to do things that I love. I recognize that when my tank is full, I'm a happier and a nicer person to be around, which makes me feel more equipped to serve. Also, my energy doesn't deplete me as quickly. I recognize when I need more self-care, and I've dropped the guilt that comes along with it. The boundaries I've outlined may seem elementary, but as Matt Bevins said, the ripple effects of small changes are extraordinary. Take some time to think about the boundaries in your life. Are you aware of them? Are you lacking them? Just take a step back and observe. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend and be sure to give the podcast a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or wherever it is that you tune in and turn it up. That's all for today. I'll see you back here next week. And until then, remember, every level of life is an opportunity to grow. Be well, my friend.